Hey, this is Jessica now, and I'm here with my 2 and 5, 2 day and 5 hour old Fisher. He's nursing. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is somebody asked me, because I had shared something on Facebook about how children are a blessing. And so I got a private message about, are you guys just going to have however many kids? And do you guys have a plan for that? And then I also was sitting here thinking about what I think of as hard now versus what I thought of as hard 14 and a half years ago, the first time I went through postpartum things. And so I want to talk about that because I'm sitting here, and I hope not too many men will watch this, but obviously I'm bleeding. My nipples hurt because he had a lip tie and a tongue tie, and we just got that dealt with yesterday afternoon. But and he's doing great now, it seems like, so that's really good. But I'm still dealing with some soreness, and I was just having horrible cramping because I don't know if you know this. If you've only had 1 or 2 babies, it may not have hurt you that bad, because I don't remember feeling it before baby number 4. But after baby number 4, the afterbirth pains for me are actually harder in many ways than contractions in labor. And so anyway, I just say all that to say that I'm not some kind of superwoman who doesn't experience pain or, some difficult things. Obviously, some things could be much worse. We did have a home birth, and I didn't tear. I tore for my first 5 babies, so to get to babies 6, 7, and 8 and not have that has been really great. But there are real challenges. Trying to drink water. But about children, I guess the biggest thing for me that I've realized is there's this eternal little person right here. And the more children we've had and the older they've gotten, the more that reality has been made clear to me, that this is such a temporary pain and temporary investment for someone who is a soul and who God is going to echo out his work in for eternity. God will get glory from this little beautiful person. And my investment in this is real. There's a real sacrifice on my part. It's hard work. It's hard work to accept a child. It's hard work to go through pregnancy and all of the things that come with that. It's hard work to go through labor and delivery. It's hard work to nurse a baby and then to keep a baby alive, even if you then don't go on to nurse or whatever you do or don't do. It's still hard work. And then there's more work after that. So there's pain involved, there's work involved. But there is so much joy and so much investment that's so good. The Bible says children are a blessing, or some say a reward or a gift, and they are that. And the other thing that I get to see now that I didn't see when my first baby was doing this, is that they're arrows, that God has built them in such a particular way that the trajectory of their life and even the bent of the wood that He's made them from, and by that I mean the fabric of character and personhood and uniqueness that He's built into them, has a particular bent to it. And the older that my kids get, hold on, I've got to get this little baby back on. The older that my kids get, the more I see, the more I see that they have been made for a target, and I don't know what that target is. I don't get to know that part until it's revealed to all of us. Maybe I'll get to see some of those things, but I get to see pieces of it and glimpses of it. And in one child right now, we're talking about architecture, and because this child seems to have an interest in that, and drawing it, observing it, building it, figuring out how things are put together. So we're investing in that. Another child, our 8-year-old, is just going nuts right now with cooking. Yesterday, so I'm 1 day postpartum. Yesterday, Silas came to me and he said, "Mom, can I make a cake?" And I said, "Well, bring me the recipe." And so he did. He brought it to me. And I said, "Well, as long as you can make this and not," I made sure we had all the ingredients. But then I said, "As long as you can make this and not need me for any of it, I'll just talk you through it." And I didn't even really have to talk him through it. He's 8, and he made the whole cake. He made the glaze. He did it. And then afterwards he said, "I don't think I'm going to do the lattice design on top. I'm just going to put the glaze all over the whole thing." And I said, "Great." And so he made a marble cake yesterday, and he made a chocolate glaze all by himself. And he's really into gardening too. I don't know what God's going to do with all of that, but he is an interesting kid. And each of our kids, I just pulled out 2 examples, but this is now number 8, little Fisher. And I just see God has put these unique things in each child that I didn't put there. I didn't sneak into Silas's brain yesterday and say, "Make a cake." He just wants that, and he has interests. And so we're trying to observe him and see how God has made him, and then help him find that target that he's been made to hit as an arrow. That's one of my goals as a mother, is for each of our kids, for them to, by the time they leave our house, have a good sense of what God has built them for. How has He made you that's different than any other person? And how can we help you to hit that target that God has made you to hit? So I say all that to say, I know that's a long-winded maybe wraparound, and it may not appear to have much to do with postpartum, but the longer I live, the more those things are informing they make up the framework through which I'm choosing to see these days. Because yes, I'm experiencing, I just had some stomach cramping of my uterus going back down. And yes, I'm obviously tired. I just had actually a way better night's sleep than the night before this one. The night before this, I got 4 little 45-minute maybe snippets. He basically wanted to nurse all night long. And then tonight, I think I got an hour and 45 minutes, and then I just got 2 hours and 15 minutes. I mean, of actual sleep. He had 2 really good nursing stretches. So I feel way better this morning than I did last time. But I'm obviously still very tired. I'm choosing to see these temporary things as temporary. When you're in them, they can feel so overwhelming. Yesterday, I had my three little ones were all crying at the same time. He had his surgery, or not surgery, they just sliced and sliced, but he had that and was struggling to get latched on, which if you've ever experienced that with a baby, it can be so, you can feel your stress level starting to rise because you're thinking, I just want you to get on here, let me help you, what's wrong, and feeling and they're so nervous. And then my not 18, he's 21 months old, my 21-month-old almost, was crying because he had a poopy diaper. And I have some great children, but right now I do not have a child yet who cleans poopy diapers. I just have not made that an investment of my energy to teach them how to do it or to ask them to do it, and none of them seem to have an interest yet, and so I just haven't made them. So those wait for me right now still. And then my 3.5-year-old was frustrated because somebody was taking a train piece from him. So I had my 3 little ones crying all at the same time. And my initial reaction was, how am I ever going to do this? We're crazy people. Why? I can't do this. And then I thought, I've felt this before. I just need to rest. God will help me through this. We will get through this. They will all be fine. And one by one, each thing did get fine eventually. They're not all 3 still crying, you can tell. But in those moments, it can feel like this is crazy. We cannot ever come back to this level of hard because this is more than I can bear. And it is in ourselves, but when we take on God's good purposes in it, and when we remind ourselves of who He is and what His goodness is in it, then it stops being the hardest thing in the world. So can y'all believe he is nursing this long? A day and a half ago, he was doing these little stints and pulling off and sucking air and having so much gas from it. And now he's just nursing. I'm so thankful. Anyway, so those are the main things I wanted to share with you. So then that also informs how I see whether or not we'll have more children. Because I'm realizing that this is a very brief time in my life that God has built my body to be able to do, and it is such a miracle. Y'all, he didn't even exist, and look at him now. He's this little person, and he's precious, and he's just so cute. And one day he's going to be a little man who comes and asks me to do things like, can I make a cake, or can I plant some sunflowers, or look at my Lego creation, Mom. And then one day he'll be a man who says, look at this building I designed, or look at this child I just made with my wife, or look at come to my thing, Mom. They're going to install me as a deacon at our church, and we'll fly to Cincinnati or wherever and see that. Or I don't know, but what an investment. And so when people say, are you going to have more kids? I don't know that. I don't know if we will be able to have more kids. I'm 37, and certainly that could continue to be something that starts to be a challenge for us. But hold on. Let me get him settled. But this is what I want to think about when I'm making that decision and talking that through with my husband. And increasingly, I just can tell y'all that God has always provided for us. He has always cared for us, and He has always taught us. James 1:5 says He'll give us the wisdom that we need. So I don't have to live in fear of what are we going to do. I don't have to live in fear of can my body do this, because He is faithful. I don't have to live in fear of job loss or that sort of thing. And I do want to say that I'm very aware that some people deal with health issues or their own levels, own things going on, and I don't want to act like I know what any decision anybody else should make. I'm just sharing our thought process in this. I have friends who have very difficult things happen or have had difficult things happen when they're pregnant, when they're in labor. And so this is not a commentary on somebody else's decisions or somebody else's, body or somebody else's marriage or anything. But for us, these are the things that inform how we choose to see these things. And I'm really thankful for these little people and thankful that I get to be a part of it. I just am amazed that God is letting us do this again. And that may sound crazy to some of you. 8 kids and looking like a mess, and three little boys crying at the same time, and that probably sounds nuts to some people. But when you get your head up out of that moment and you realize those 3 little men are going to be men that do amazing things in this world, and that God has custom created to hit particular targets and to glorify Him in ways that no one else in the history of the world has been able to do, it makes the cramping uterus and the crying 3 boys all at the same time seem so small in comparison. So those are the things that I'm thinking about this morning, and this is a long video now, but that's my answer. Those are my thoughts. Those are the things that inform our thinking on this. And so I hope that helps answer your question. We're not some sort of hardcore quiver fullers who think everybody should have as many babies ever as they need to have. We are not people who try to make those decisions for anybody else. But for us, this is the thinking that informs our thinking and choices in this regard, and it's what makes me really thankful to get to do this again, that God would use me for this work and build my body to do this. It's just amazing to me every time. It never stops being a miracle. So God bless y'all, and I hope this is encouraging to you. Come see me at jesscannell.com, and I have a podcast at momonpurpose.com. I've got some things on both of those places about little kids and postpartum stuff as well, so check those out. Bye.